For years and years.
Okay.
You're in good shape.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
Maybe something we should point out too is that, because I got a bunch of calls on this morning, the postcard that you guys received, just to make it clear, that was not sent out by the city or the MSD. We don't know who sent that out, but it wasn't any kind of an official public hearing notice, anything like that. That was had nothing to do with the city. So whoever sent it out did it completely on their own and we had nothing to do with it.
True or not true?
That's my question.
Well, and again, that item's not on the agenda tonight. That's why.
So a lot of you here,
Yeah.
you're here because of the mailer that went out. The date is not from Immigration Canyon. We don't know who sent that out, and the setbacks discussion is not on the agenda and will not be heard tonight.
When will it be heard?
We don't. It's tabled. We tabled it at our last meeting, and the minutes that describe that in detail are always available. They're available on public website. We don't know when we'll hear that again, but we will hear it again.
So you're still looking at
Having said that, we
right
are
of ways away from people in the canyon.
we're happy to hear public comments on any issue.
I have a comment.
Please do. Don't come down soon.
Hi. My name's
Now
Glenn.
sit down and tell us your address and name.
Glenn Max, 3721 Immigration
Thank
Canyon.
you. It's for the minutes.
It's the what?
We need that for the minutes. Thank you.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure that you guys aren't going to come down there and try to widen the road or do anything that's going to impact my property. I don't think you have a right to do that.
Well,
And maybe we could.
are you commenting about the setback? Or
Yes.
The road
Yeah.
improvement project?
I'm talking about where you're going to take the right of way and extend it 10 feet from property.
I don't believe the right of way will change at all.
Okay. The right of way will not change. Okay. And that answers my question. Thank you.
My name is Merrick Wright. I live at 3876 Emigration Canyon Road, low in the canyon and not part of where this widening is going to be happening right now. However, my comments are related to what's going to happen in the future, what might happen in terms of the right of way. And I want to counsel the people to all understand that the edge of the road is not the edge of the right of way. The right of way, in many cases, goes within inside of the place where people have already have had their fences for 50, 100 years. Emigration Canyon lots are already double challenged by stream setbacks, which are established. You have to be a certain number of feet from the stream's edge, however. And then also now you're going to add, there would be additional limitations on development from the roadside. Some of these lots are very narrow and have roads on the front. In the case of my property, I have a road also on the back, Sunnydale Lane, and the creek running through my property that all limit the ability to use on the property and developability. I need to, try to understand, is this really going to apply to storage sheds and garages and things like that on property? That needs to be taken into consideration. And I just wonder why it's necessary to restrict private use on private property. Especially if we're doing it just to accommodate bikers that aren't 95% I would expect and more probably aren't even residents of our canyon.
And who don't follow the law.
And they don't seem to. The distance from the center of the road, from the right of way or from the road would be the more appropriate standard, because I know that it does wander around, and it's not, going to be developable to do the road wide, especially if they don't infringe upon the rights of the road being used, and wide, and make the raceway and the roadway even larger. It is, on weekends, it's almost unusable to be outside in the summertime. It's so noisy and so out of control, the speeds and the noise. Just like to see that taken care of, because it is not.
Anyone else?
I'll make a comment. I'm standing. And I'm going to face both groups because people back here cannot hear the person speaking here. It's good you can hear them, But those of us back here are very interested in what's being said. We cannot hear it. Okay? So my name is Susan Harada. I'm at 6639 Emigration Canyon Road. I have been living here for 43 years, almost 43 years. I'm one of the few houses that is built over the creek. And so if you are looking at widening the road, that means I could lose space on both sides of my house, which is unacceptable to me. And I'm also on a section of the road where it's a straightaway. So what happens? It may not be the bicyclists, but the motorcyclists are the worst. They go up there as fast as they can. And you guys are never here. You don't hear it, but we do it all the time. And my fear is if you widen it even more, it's going to give them even a better way to speed. And we don't need that.
Melissa Emerson, 5655 Immigration Canyon Road. I just wanted to make the point that I made last time, but there's a lot of people here in the room that weren't here last time, and that is this zoning ordinance that was introduced last meeting, which proposes to change the setback from Immigration Canyon Road, and actually, as I understand, and Claire, please clarify if you wish, it would change and have setbacks as part of the zoning ordinance, which is not currently the case, and certainly would change the Immigration Canyon Road setback. And that renders anyone that currently would be infringing on that technically, new guideline, non-conforming. And my concern with that, as I stated last time, is that if anyone wants to develop, if anyone wants to add on, if anyone needs to remodel, if anyone needs to repair a structure, a fence, whatever it may be, a bridge or whatever, they would then be in a non-conforming status, which causes quite a lot of trouble for a private homeowner to have to then hurdle all of those bureaucratic and infrastructure guidelines and so forth that might be hurdles for them. Whereas someone who's adept at that might not be such a big hurdle, but someone who's just a homeowner has to deal with such things. I mean, it's not a minor issue for them potentially. And as you know, and the mayor, you've been very concerned about fires, we all are. If someone were subject to that in a small canyon zone and they end up having to rebuild, just like we've seen people in LA having to struggle with getting permits and getting rebuilt. That's an extreme example, but I just want to put it in context so that we're not just rushing forward thinking we're solving the problem, standardizing all of this language without really thinking about the impact it has on homeowners, property owners, and those who might have to struggle with this in the future. And none of you might be here in 10 years, let's say, in a position to help. You might want to be helping now, but who are they going to run into then? And who's going to say, you're non-conforming? Oh gosh, I don't know. What's the exception? How do you deal with that? And I've done enough building in my life and been around it enough to know it's not a minor. And it can be really hard on the average person to handle it. So please take that into consideration. I appreciate your consideration of it.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I'm Robert McFarland. I live at 6102, and I've had a lot of conversations with you all. And I think that the Planning Commission meeting, I was at the first part of that meeting, and at the outset, at 6:45 mark, there was talk of a 10-foot setback. They were talking about from the edge of the pavement. And then there were texts going back and forth. If you listen to the recording of that call, it is impossible to decipher what was going on. It was not transparent. People were not informed. And then the people, including Claire, were like dismissive of, oh, this is a worry. But if you do the research and there's a 20-foot setback from the edge of the 66-foot right of way, you're talking about, it's a big leg expanse. So, and then all of a sudden these houses that were conforming and garages and other facilities are non-conforming. There are real dollar impacts to everybody who is within that zone where you're stretching your legs. And there needs to be an analysis on the cost. I know it's work, but you guys are the public servants. Our taxes pay for MSD. Our taxes, and this should be a small community. We should be talking as friends. We should be talking about real impacts to people. We should be doing this with care. And it feels to me that it's far too, like we're going to turn it over to UDOT and they're going to get in there. And then what are they going to do? Are they going to want 14 feet of clear space on the edge of the pavement after you go 5 feet on each side? And then what does that do to the character of the canyon? What does that do to the value? And when Tamron talks, I want to know how much money you're setting aside to pay for takings that you will be doing. You'll be taking people's value from their homes. You'll be taking down garages if you do, if you stretch your legs and you change the roadway conforming. You'll be putting the stream under the water. People will be needing bridges. I mean, there's a light touch and it might be fine. But I'm not comfortable and I'm not getting a reassurance that it's a light touch and it's going to be fine. And I don't think people are even informed. So, I mean, I would encourage you to let's do it the friendly way. Let's do a light touch. Let's try and take care of people. Let's be civil and be respectful of each other.
Thank you, Mr. McQuarrie. Anyone else? Okay, we're going to move on our agenda. I'd like to have reports tonight from Unified Police. I don't see anyone here.
She's online.
Line.
Yep. And she should be able to.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Oh, hold on. Let me change this.
You guys good?
Just a sec. Let me just change you to a different. And let's see if that works. All right, try again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
There we go.
All right. All right. So for the month of January, Unified had 40 calls for service. There was one major incident of note we had at Ruth's Diner. It was a welfare check on a suicidal individual who had a gun. The restaurant was closed for safety reasons. And then we had Mill Creek officers come and help. And what we did was we blocked in the vehicle. Luckily, the individual had passed out. And so we were able to break the windows of the vehicle and secure the weapon and get the individual transported to the hospital for further mental health care. Really, that's the big thing that happened that month. Most of the other calls were minor, and that's my report.
Thank you, Dawn.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. A brief introduction.
Yes, Assistant Chief Robinson from Unified Fire Authority.
So, thank you. So, as Councilmember Harris mentioned, my name is Zach Robinson, Assistant Chief with Unified Fire Authority, Critical Support Services. I am filling in as kind of an acting liaison for Emigration Canyon right now. As you know, our
Hear you back here.
yes, ma'am. As you know, our existing liaison, our previous liaison, Brian Case, retired at the end of 2025. So as we go through some upcoming promotional processes, a new liaison will be identified and assigned to Emigration Canyon to going forward. So we're looking forward to getting to that point. We expect somewhere probably around the end of March. So you may be seeing me again next month at the council meeting then. And of course, if there's any questions that pop up during the month, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to pursue any answers that we need to get. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Salt Lake Animal Services. Gary.
Very quickly. We did have a advisory board meeting. I reported on our meeting where there was a discussion of the ordinance doing away with regulating animals, fowl, and so forth. And what struck me as significant about that was that apparently the MSD and Brian Tucker, I got him in contact with Carrie Seibert, and they're communicating back and forth. There was an incident, for example, this last year. Salt Lake City has its own animal services board, but one of the residents of Salt Lake City appealed to Salt Lake County Animal Services to get chickens on their house property, and Salt Lake City acquiesced to Salt Lake counties. And I think it's important that before we proceed that, and I think it's already resolved because I think I've got them in two-way communication. The Animal Services regulations and rules were updated, I'm told, in 2021. And the interesting thing is MSD didn't even seem to be aware that Animal Services had the authority and the rules and so forth governing these processes. So they're in contact with one another. There's nothing else that I can report.
Thank you, Gary. Any questions about animals? And Emigration Canyon. Thank you. Okay, land use updates, Claire.
Nice to see everybody.
Claire Gilmore, our land use attorney from the MSD.
Thank you, sir. Cameron.
Can you turn sideways so people can try to hear you? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Cameron may have already shared the best land use update. That there was a recent litigation that was just dismissed as far as Emigration Canyon goes. Shout out to Cameron. He did a really great job advising litigation counsel on that issue. The next update I have for you is we do have a land use appeal scheduled for the appeal of certain portions of a permitted use application. That appeal is scheduled for April 14th to be heard by the land use hearing officer. And last, I wanted to update the council on, I took the mayor's advice, the very valuable advice, and consulted with the planning commission on the process for our code updates. And I believe that with the planning commission's input, the staff and with their ideas, we'll be able to come to you next time with a format and a presentation that will be much more clear than what we've had previously. And I'm really looking forward to making that process much more clear for everybody.
Thank you. Are there any questions for our land use attorney?
I do have a question. I think
Will you come down and give us your name and address?
I'm Robert McFarland, 6102 Emigration Canyon Road. And when I was on the planning commission call, one thing that struck me was that this type of rulemaking was more appropriate for raw land. If you had a place that you're developing, say out on the very west side of the valley where it's open land and you just got all this acreage and you're plotting out new land. We've had houses here for 75 plus years. They're in a very tight, especially up where I live, a very tight roadway. And you're basically applying these rules that are more akin to a brand new development that's spacious, where everyone's stepping in knowing that that's the rule. Like I bought my house 6 years ago and I thought, okay, this is settled. This is pretty stable. This has been here for 50 years. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, boom. In the course of the meeting, it feels sudden.
I let you ask a question.
Yes. My question is this appropriate for a city that's been a tight canyon that's been here forever versus a brand new development?
Thank you.
I will respond at the council's pleasure or not, whatever.
I'm sorry.
I'm happy to respond at the pleasure of the council or not. What?
I don't think that the answer to that question is appropriate right now. However, it will be a part of the record and we'll take a look at that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on in our agenda. Project updates. Cameron?
You didn't have any for this meeting.
The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. It's approval of the meeting minutes of January 20th, which are lengthy, and I went through them all today. They cover very well. They're very well taken notes. They cover very well the discussion we had about setbacks, and that was tabled and will continue. Could we have a motion to approve these minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes from our January city council meeting as presented.
That's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay. Stuart, are you doing the quarterly financial report?
Yes, I am.
That was my mistake with putting Daniel. I got mixed up.
Okay, we have Daniel Hoffman on that.
Yeah, it's Stuart.
Would you introduce yourself, Stuart?
Yes. Hi, I'm Stuart Ocobia. I'm the Director of Finance for the MSC, and I'm here to give you a quarterly update on your financials. And going forward, we'll be doing this every quarter. So about every 3 months, we'll be out here talking about your financials and giving you a high-level summary of how things are coming along.
That's what I'm trying to.
Okay, I don't think I can share.
If you try to, it'll send me a request to do it, and then I should be able to click it.
Okay, let me see.
It's just because you're the first one that's tried to share. It's going to ask me for permission once you do it.
Okay. I clicked on it.
Okay. Give it just a second. It should show up on my end. It's supposed to. That's how it works. And the other ones.
It says disabled share, host disabled attendee screen sharing.
No, it should work. I think it's because the internet's slower. I've noticed things aren't quite working the same. So let me see if I can. Yeah, one person can share at a time. Okay. That's weird. Okay, let's try that. Try again.
Okay.
I don't know why it's got different things, but we'll give it a shot.
Okay,
There we go.
All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm here to present your financial statements as of December 31st, 2025. We are in a fiscal year, so this is halfway through the fiscal year. So briefly, this is your balance sheet, shows your cash position. As of the end of December, you had about $385,000 in cash. These are the accounts that it's in. $87,000 in receivables. Those are usually like your sales taxes and things that haven't quite been deposited yet. They are on their way. You also have some bonds that are kept. These are other performance bonds that are restricted, kept in a different account. In addition, along with the small accounts payables and the bond liabilities, the fund balance as of December 31st, 2025 was $454,262.48. That represents an unassigned, so an unrestricted fund balance. You do have a small assigned fund balance of $16,805 that's been assigned to a capital. As we look through, I'm going to just kind of walk through the revenues and expenses real quick to see how things have been trending for the year. Because we are at halfway through the year, so 50% is kind of the goal, so as you're looking at these numbers and you're looking at the percentages on the right, 50% would be based on what we were budgeted. So as far as like the sales tax goes, based on the budget, you're trending 49.72, so right halfway, based on what we budgeted. So things are trending just fine there. As I go down everything else seems to be trending about where you anticipated. Some things are a little bit lower, for example, building permits, just based on the budget, but this is what's coming so far. As we scroll down to the bottom, the total revenue is showing a slightly higher. Keep in mind that the contribution from the MSD for the admin budget has been fully contributed at 100% here. So the only reason I'm pointing that out is, although this is 65%, keep in mind it's probably just slightly over 50% based on how your revenue has been tracking for the year. As we look at expenses, like I said, keep in mind you want to be about 50%. These are the expenses, and as we go down, things are trending about where we anticipated. The attorney fees there is a little bit higher, but some other budget items haven't been used. So in total, the total admin budget that we've spent as of December 31st was 35% of the budget. So things are trending well. No issues there. This is a contribution to the MSD General Fund. So yeah, everything really seems to be about where you anticipated you would be about this time of the year. That's your main fund. I'm just going to go over your other fund. You do have another fund as well. You have a couple other funds. This is a small community council fund, very small, $2,000 in there. There's been no activity in there this year, so really nothing to report there. Everything is zero. In your Fund 45, this is what we call the council designated fund. It's just the items in this fund stay with the Emigration Canyon, so this doesn't go to the MSD, so we just keep things separate. And the only thing that you really have here is your CARES. This was the money that came from COVID and all that during the pandemic and all that. You still have $60,735 left in your CARES 2 funds. This does not have a spending deadline, so essentially these just stay in this fund until we get word from the council on how they like to use its funds. The only activity in this fund really has just been the interest that you've earned on that $60,000, which has been about $1,400 so far this year. Okay. And that is the financial report for the first half of the year. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Stuart, it's Catherine Harris. Can you remind us what we can use the CARES money for? I know that it has some requirements attached to it.
So the CARES money has a little less requirements, and because of the size of the money that you got, it didn't really have any restrictions. Basically, it could be used for any city or related expense. So it's pretty flexible, and you got an ARPA and you also got a CARES. The ARPAs did have a timeline. You've spent all those, so those are gone. The CARES has no timeline or no deadline to spend. So it's basically it's for any city expense, any use that the city decides.
Okay, thanks.
Nick, do you have any questions?
Actually, Stuart, I do. Nick Griffith. Just a really quick question. It doesn't seem like you have any worries about where we are at the halfway point. Is there anything you think we need to be paying attention to in the second half of the fiscal year? And as I understand it, none of those funds are expiring funds anyway. So if something isn't spent, it rolls over into the same fund. So that's kind of a two-part question there.
Yeah, I'll answer the second part. So yes, with your admin budget, any unspent funds in your admin budget basically just rolls into your unrestricted funds. Now, keep in mind that you do have a limit on how much you can have in unrestricted funds. That's why you had that $16,000 that was assigned to capital. Basically, state law says, there's a limit. If you don't have any use for it, they cap it at 35% of your revenue. Anything above that amount gets assigned to a capital fund. So right now you have $16,000 in a capital fund that basically has to be used for a capital type expense. Essentially cannot be used for wages or like supplies, but anything capital related, which is basically any asset that has a life over a year. So yes, anything that you don't spend goes into unrestricted, but keep in mind that, you do have a maximum. But even though when it does go into the capital, doesn't mean that you lose it. It's just the fact that it automatically gets assigned to that. And then your second question about the second part of the year. I mean, overall, no concerns really. I would say with the second part of the year. I will say though that right now we're in the budget season for next year. So as we talked about it, so I'll encourage those on your council that are working on the budget to reach out, and I can definitely follow up. Definitely, we want to make sure that your admin budget for next year is in line, and all the things that you want in the budget, you want to make sure we're capturing them. And now is the time, essentially, to do that. So I think that's really the most important thing right now.
Thank you for that. Yeah, thanks for the reminder. That is really important. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you. Good night.
Our second presentation, Local Administrative Advisor Program. Vales? Did I say that?
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I'll try to project. Thank you for having me. My name is Madison Aviles, and I'm the Local Administrative Advisor for Wasatch Front Regional Council. This was a program that was created by the Utah League of Cities and Towns in 2023. They recognized a statewide need from a lot of really small cities and towns that need administrative assistance to help with a lot of the mandates and requirements that they deal with and field compared to their larger neighbors. So I started with Wasatch Front Regional Council about 2 years ago, and I currently work with 16 communities across 4 counties, Salt Lake, Tooele, Weber, and Davis counties. The program is in collaboration with the state's 7 Association of Governments, so that we had a local administrative advisor placed regionally in each of the state's 7 AOG areas. So for the Wasatch Front Regional Council area, I serve the 4-county region. To qualify as a local administrative advisor community, a community must have less than 10,000 residents in population, operate without a city manager or administrator, and be a member of the Utah League of Cities and Towns. So Emigration qualifies as an LAA community, and I had the chance to sit down with Diana last week, and we had a fantastic conversation about how the LAA program can potentially provide even more assistance to Emigration Canyon. MSD is obviously a fantastic resource to the city, and it's very unique to the MSD cities that operate within Salt Lake County. A little bit different from your neighbors over in Tooele, Weber, and Davis counties that I also work with. But we talked through some of the opportunities to share grant and funding opportunities that come through WFRC to Emigration Canyon, making sure we're getting those opportunities over to MSD staff so that they can appropriately write grant applications on behalf of Emigration Canyon, and make sure that you are accessing some of the limited LAA opportunities that may be available. So, for example, we have a scholarship that's coming up for the spring conference in St. George, hosted by the Utah League of Cities and Towns. And any LAA city or town official can apply for a scholarship. It'll cover your conference registration, your travel expenses, everything for that spring conference. So I'll make sure I share that opportunity over with MSD. But those are the type of opportunities that we're trying to connect all of the LAA cities and towns with. For today, I really just wanted to introduce myself and make sure that you know that I can be a point of contact for Wasatch Front Regional Council and for the Utah League of Cities and Towns. So it's a fantastic program. I want to make sure that you feel like you are also receiving assistance, even though you already have such a great backbone with MSD. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And I'll leave a few of my business cards to Diana so she can pass them out.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Madison.
Yeah.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is a preliminary capital budget presentation by Cameron.
It's Cameron Anderson.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm Richard Stevens. I'm with the MSD, and I'll be representing engineering tonight. It's good to be here. I just wanted to spend a few minutes and just talk about our capital improvement projects for FY27. And she just had it up.
I'm just going to put it so it shares it through Zoom, so Zoom can see it as well.
Okay, so the first one is the road improvement project, and I can't see very well, but
zoom it in a little bit.
But I can point out the important parts on that. There we go. That's better.
Trying kind of.
You can read the different categories, but what I want to focus is on the total budget amount and then also the FY 27 additional funds requested on the last column. The last column with the additional funds requested, those are funds that will be needed in addition to what has already been received from other sources. So the first one is the road improvement project. That's the one we're discussing about improving Emigration Canyon Road, possibly putting a bike lane up there. The second one is the Emigration Creek culvert, and we are still needing, I think that's, what is that? Is that 420? 450.
250,000.
That is where we're looking to put the culverts in, replacing the culverts at Skycrest, Cedar Loft, and
Not too much.
Oh, thank you, Diana.
Trying to see if I can get it just a little bit bigger for you.
The third one is the transportation impact fee. Now, this is a project that I just wanted to bring up. It's not recommended that we do this, but what it is, it's a study to determine if Emigration Canyon City should require an impact fee for any development. Right now, we're not doing anything like that, and it's really for cities that will see a lot of like industrial, commercial, residential growth. It gets to the point where transportation means really have an impact on the community. So Emigration Canyon isn't at that point yet. For example, Magna, the big FedEx facility in Magna was developed. That's a huge strain on the transportation system. Those kind of projects will definitely require an impact fee. But at this point, it's not recommended that we go through with a study for that. But on the next ones, the transportation utility fee, or the TUF, it's recommended that we do that. Now, transportation utility fee, and I did give you a little handout just to give you some information on that. But what that is, it's just a fee that would be imposed on the public at large for costs associated with developing, constructing, maintaining, operating, repairing, upgrading, or replacing transportation systems. So it's money that would be collected monthly to help keep the roads and utilities updated. I think that's a good study. Most of the communities in the MSD are doing it, except for Copperton, which is a maybe, but all the other communities are doing it.
It's collected, money is collected to maintain the roads, basically.
Yeah.
From whom is it collected?
From the residents.
The residents of that particular area. Yeah. Because, and only those residents. One of the issues that we face in Emigration Canyon is that we are used a lot more people than actually live here. We're a corridor whenever I-80 shuts down. We're a regular corridor for people who commute from Park City. And so is there any avenue for us to get money?
And that's possible.
Those users, and how would we go about that?
That'll come out in the study. So it'll be interesting to see what that goes. I don't have all the answers on that. I did, and I don't think that the actual cost per month would be like outrageous. I did read a little bit on the Far West study that was just completed like a couple of years ago. In that study, the consultant mentioned how poor the roads were, and they suggested that the residents pay up to $10 per month into which would go towards a fund to maintain the roads and utilities. No, just more taxes, right?
Well, it's all fairness. Mm-hmm. And particularly when we get big semis and hundreds of vehicles an hour, when Interstate 80 is shut down, that's a lot of wear and tear on our road.
It's a lot of wear and tear.
And it's not caused by the residents. There are actually a couple of homeowners associations that do already assess an impact fee for construction within the subdivision. And so is that what that first one, with the transportation impact fee, is that what you were referring to?
That would be for that's a one-time
For new
impact fee for new development.
And this is for public roads.
Yeah.
Yeah, but remember, this isn't the only funding stream. This is just in addition to the other funding streams.
I want to understand this better. I've been asked, this is my 6th year now in the council. I've been asking about this, and it doesn't appear that there's any other avenue other than making ourselves a UDOT road, which we absolutely do not want to do, to get funding for all the use that we get from Interstate 80. It's a real touch point too.
I agree. Even found myself detouring through Immigration City when I was working in Park City. So, totally understand. The last two projects on there, the Margaret Lane drainage project, that is to rebuild the side of the creek bed. There's a retaining wall right there now that looked like it was done perhaps by a resident years ago, and it does need to be replaced. That is something that's not a huge priority, but it is something that's on the list. The last one is the Face Creek Walk reconstruction. That is to make some improvements to the infrastructure within Face Creek, such as putting head walls and wing walls on some of the existing culverts, tearing out and rebuilding some of the walls, such as the gaving baskets and so forth. I want to bring to your attention, does it show the hyperlink on there? For any new projects, you can go to this right here, and this is for the mayor and for the council members. If you want to put in any project for consideration, like I said, these projects are not guaranteed to be done. These are simply on the list to be reviewed and approved. Possibly, they're competing for funding by the MSD board, and this will go to the MSD board next month. But it always helps to submit a project that you think needs to be done, so we can get it on the wish list, and then it can be prioritized depending on life, health, safety sort of thing.
And I will send this to you guys as soon as we get out of this, and I'm not sharing my screen anymore. I will email this sheet to you guys, and it'll have that hyperlink on it. I'll send it to the whole council.
I think that's all I got.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No. Okay, next is an engineering update. Cameron or Richard?
I think it's still Richard.
I think that was.
Or is this going to be Cameron?
I think that was part of the.
Oh, okay. And it may have been all together. Okay.
I am willing to give updates if you want them. I'm sorry I didn't prepare a presentation because there aren't a lot of updates to be had. First of all, as far as that smart sheet, I did send that link out. All of the council, your new council member did not receive it. But that was sent, previously. And I'm not sure if the smart sheet is still open or not, because now we're at the point where we're taking communities and we'll combine them and take them to the MSD. As far as updates, the MSD Transportation Master Plan is still moving forward. I want to talk for a second about the study that Richard mentioned, as part of the funding cycle, the $35,000. Because we are doing the Transportation Master Plan already, that study is less expensive than it would be if we were doing it on our own. And so we are approaching all of the communities that are part of the MSD and asking if they'd be interested in having that study done so that their councils can be aware of that additional funding opportunity. And then once you receive the study and then you can decide whether or not to move forward with implementing that. But that's all part of the MSD Transportation Master Plan. The road improvement project, I am still waiting on getting signatures on the documents so that we can move forward. I have emailed the project manager on that and asked where we're at with getting signatures. There was a typo on, well, we started back in December with trying to move forward, and so there was a delay on getting it approved through the council and the MSD. And so they had previously done the schedule based on those initial dates when we came to the council. And so I was requesting that they update those dates, and we're stuck in a loop of getting that document signed. The immigration FEMA floodplain or flood map update, FEMA came back with another set of comments, and the consultant has again responded and sent that back to FEMA, and it's back in FEMA's court. I do have an answer for Janet. There are 2 public meetings that will be held, 1 public open house and 1 public hearing. In addition, there will be 2 city council presentations, 1 early in the phase of the project and 1 at the end of the phase of the project. So that's all I have for updates.
Thank you, Tamara. Okay, we're going to move into council business, and we have a resolution. Okay.
I don't think, is Brian here? I don't see him.
We'll move to item number B, appointing a
Yeah.
representative to the Unified Police Department and Salt Lake Valley Law Enforcement. I've asked Robert Pignon to take over that duty. I've been on the board, UPD board and Silvisa board for many years, and I'm going to spend more time on MSD work and WFRC. Robert has agreed to do this, and Robert's on vacation or out of town, but that will be my recommendation. We need a motion on it.
Yeah, so what I tried to do is have a resolution with listing all of the board positions.
And that's the one that I have. It's just we'd already published the agenda, so I hadn't been interested.
Okay. So we can just make a motion for each appointment, and then we can pass one resolution for all the appointments. Okay. If that makes sense. And so we have UPD and Silvisa for Robert Pignon. And so if you want to make a motion for that.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Robert Pignon as our representative to Silvisa, to Unified Police and Silvisa boards.
Did you second?
I did.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next is appointing an alternate representative to the Greater Salt Lake Municipal Services District. I've asked Jen Hawks to do that. She's agreed to do that, and also asked Jen to continue as our deputy mayor.
And so for this one, we just have a resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, let me switch.
And you have in the folder there, it has the new resolution for 03 that has all of the different things that Cameron sent, that had all the different spots where you guys could put things in there.
So we can get to that in the item C, 9C.
Okay.
So for the appointing an alternate representative, just for anyone that's not aware, the mayor is the primary representative with the MSD, and so if he's absent or unable to attend, we are allowed to have an alternate, and so we just have to have a resolution to appoint that alternate. So if that's acceptable to the council, then it'd just be a motion and a vote on resolution R 2026-03 to appoint an alternate representative.
03 or 04?
Or sorry, 04.
Yeah, that's 04.
To appoint an alternate representative to the MSD.
I would move to appoint Jennifer Hawks to alternate representative MSD board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And then moving on to C, Diana, do you have can you put the list up? Yeah. It might be helpful to just look at that while we're going through.
Yep.
Councilperson Harris is volunteered to continue as our representative of the Unified Fire Authority and the Unified Fire Service Area. Do we need a resolution?
Continuing that until.
Yeah, you're okay because
somebody else wouldn't need a resolution.
Okay, let me get this up here and then I will share it on Zoom. Just
And the same is similar for the alternate, and somehow unable for capacity is Jennifer Hawks. She continues in that unless we make a motion to.
Okay.
So she's your alternate with UFA?
Yes.
Okay.
And UFSA does not have
an alternate. Yep.
Yeah, so what I did is on the list, I just put a list of all of the boards and all of the committee assignments that we've had in the past. With the movement on the council and in the mayor's position, I just figured it would be helpful to go through all of those. And so the council can just go through the list, and if we don't want to make a change, then we can just cross that one out. And then if there's one that's unfilled, or if we need to appoint somebody, the council can have a motion and vote on who to appoint to that position, and then we could pass the resolution for it. Does that make sense?
It seems like with two council members missing, and I know Nick hasn't had a chance to even learn what the different positions and assignments and roles are. It might be a good idea to let him learn a little more and then address the rest of us next month.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That's there's everything that we need to have filled is filled at this point, and so we can certainly put this off till next month.
I'll tell you things that I know. I'm going to be the representative on the Wasatch Front Regional Council Board, and I've been appointed to the one of the funding groups, the short-term funding group, which is where we want to be. I'll also be responsible for Salt Lake County Council of Governments, and I'll be our representative on the Council of Mayors, Salt Lake County. Okay. The rest of these, I think we can talk about next month.
So do you want to pass those specific ones now, and then we can bring another resolution back with the rest of the spaces?
Resolution on the rest of these.
So for these, the resolution just helps for record keeping purposes.
Yeah.
It can be just a motion and a vote. That's all we have to do. The resolution is helpful just so that we have a record of, hey, at this day, at this time, these were the people. We're fine if you want to just leave the motion and vote for Councilmember Pignon on UPD and Slovisa. Councilmember Harris is going to stay with her assignments, and then we can finish the rest of this list out next month, and I'll just include UPD and Slovisa in that resolution.
We want to do.
Okay. And then any discussion on the other assignments? I can certainly leave it till next month.
No.
I mean,
okay.
We haven't had a work meeting in advance of our public, and the work meetings are public, but we haven't had a work meeting, and it seems like this would be an ideal time to schedule one maybe next month, because some of these fall into, almost chore categories. Others are assignments. Like I said, Nick hasn't even had a chance to learn.
I would very much appreciate that falling under a work meeting, sort of.
You want to, should we have a 6 o'clock work meeting next month?
I love spending my evenings here. Yes, sure. I move that we have a work meeting in advance of our regularly scheduled meeting next month on March. I don't know what the date is.
You can just say the March meeting because they're already published.
A 1 hour work meeting to address or to address council duties and assignments.
I second that. That would be great. Thank you.
Motion and second for a work meeting prior to our next council meeting. I believe that's on March 17th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay. Robert Pignon is not here, so we're not going to talk about health in Utah tonight. City design standards and guidelines. That's Jennifer Hawks. I'll talk about that tonight.
Real quick, before you continue, Cameron, do we want a motion to table the other ordinance, the resolution till next month?
Yes.
Oh yeah. So normally that's why I like to have the language discussion and possible action, but since we have it as taking action, we do need to have a motion
Would you mind?
to table that.
I wouldn't mind at all. I would raise a motion to table that discussion of those assignments till next month.
Is that our 2026 before?
03.
03.
Yeah, 03.
Or 2026 03.
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. City attorney updates, do you have anything to come up, Cameron?
No, I mean, we do have the closed session
We're gonna have
for
a closed session
litigation
tonight.
strategy, but other than that, no.
Okay, I'll give a report on attending the MSD board meetings that are 2 a month. Mostly right now, we're talking about budgeting and nothing really of consequence. Unified Police Department attended the board meeting this month. We're again in a budgeting mode, and Salt Lake Valley Law Enforcement Service area also in a budgeting mode. There's been an attempt to pass legislation at the legislature to allow Salt Lake County to withdraw from SODISA. I understand that has been pulled from the bill. It may reappear at another time, but something we're watching very closely. And Emigration Canyon Planning Commission, they're working on ordinance updates, and we'll have more to report on that in future meetings. Councilmember Harris.
Thanks. I'm going to touch on a couple of things here that are not listed, but since it's just a report, I think I'm allowed to do that. As far as, we'll take the easy one first, watershed plan, I have no updates. Considering Unified Fire Authority and UFSA and associated bills, there's actually a fair amount to report. The House Bill 48 has gone through the rules, and I don't know if everybody here has had a chance to look at the maps put out by Fire Forestry and State Lands. Almost all of us are in designated high-risk areas, which will mean that we have a fee imposed on us for the next 3 years until they decide how they're going to approach how you might mitigate your property to reduce hazards and lower that fee. 3 years is a long time. There's a lot of people upset with that. There's also a number of people upset with other things, I'm told, but I have no specific information that there's discussion at the legislative level, state legislature level, to change some of these, but I have no specific information. We also have no authority within our municipality to change things on our own. Also, related to that, there's a bill that House Bill 41, which will provide, which will actually mandate an update from the 2006 International WUI Code, which municipalities and towns and cities have been forbidden to have any building code more stringent than the 2006 code. All of a sudden bring it up to speed to the 2024 International WUI Code. Although there's a number of language changes in it where sometimes it's the 2021 for certain plumbing. It's a little bit complicated, but net overall is that for new building, it's a huge improvement. This has gone out of committee, see where it goes after this and what sort of language changes might be coming. I think there's a lot of support for it, and so I expect that it will be passed into law. It will not affect any current homes. However, if you make improvements on your homes or remodel or rebuild, you would be impacted. Given the fire risk and the other things we're facing as far as wildfire and defensible space, I think this is a net. I will be happy if this is passed. Am I missing anything on this? I know it was presented at the UFA board meeting this morning.
No, I think you did it really well.
Let's see. I spoke with at the UFA board meeting this morning. I spoke with Chief Whittison about having perhaps a town hall or some sort of public educational presentation about the implications of House Bill 48 and perhaps House Bill 41 if that gets passed, although that's a much more straightforward bill, because a lot of people, myself included, and I've been aware of this for almost 2 years now, don't understand it well. And it's also the Fire Forestry and State Lands, which manages the program. Their strengths are not in their user-friendly computer interfaces. And so Chief Whittison has offered to come to a meeting and teach us a little bit more about what this means, the implications, how to understand your individual property. He did ask that we wait until after this legislative session is over, see what's coming down the pipes that we don't even know about yet. Another thing I wanted to bring up is Firewise scheduling, and just wanted to make the council aware, that everybody that's lived in the canyon more than 2 months knows that we traditionally have a Firewise Day. This has traditionally been associated because we are a Firewise community and have been for over 20 years. The person who's been running Firewise Day has moved out of the canyon. And we need to, as a council, decide, because we no longer have a community council, we need to decide if we're going to continue this. And if we are, we need to put out a call for assistance, volunteers, to help organize this Firewise Day. I do want to note we're not required by the National NFPA, National Fire Protection. Yeah, protection. That oversees the Community Firewise program. We are not required to have a Firewise Day per se. However, I think it's been a real it's positive of living in the canyon. It's one of the few times that we all get to come together for something kind of fun, pancakes, a lot of good demonstrations. However, we need people to help run it. I'm having surgery in the middle of April. I'm going to be out of commission with, one arm. I'm not going to be in a position to just say, sure, I'll do it. And so what I was going to propose is that we send out a code red, unless there are people here that will say, I would love to help with Firewise. Soliciting some volunteers. It takes, it doesn't take, if we had 4 people helping, it would be 10 hours per person. But I don't know if we have interest. We've really had difficulty getting volunteer assistance within the community lately.
Let's work on that in our meeting next. Right.
We need to get it scheduled if we're going to do it. I would propose that if I can get a consensus from the council, that I ask that we send out a code red or community email or something right away.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I'd just like to say I think that's a really great event, and I think it's something that benefits everybody here, even if it's just coming together and having a conversation. And I would, even though it's not required, Firewise, I think it would be awesome if we did.
I think it would be. I would be sad to see it go.
I could like your help getting this together.
But, yeah, I'd be happy to be one of the hands that helps figure that out.
I think it is required by Firewise.
It's not, but I call them. There are other ways to educate the community, but they like it when communities have fireworks there. We just need people. We have the money.
Yeah.
The additional benefit is that we are required to engage in remediation activities every year.
Yes.
Not the FFL.
And I'm not suggesting that we do anything with our the chipping or some of the community defensible space work that we do, as well as the individuals. That you're correct. We are required to do that, and we have to have a certain percentage of the homes within the canyon and also residents. Traditionally, we've gone so far over it that I end up not saying exactly how much time and money we've spent. Although, you know, we do need all of that. It's just, we need people to help with organizing Vitalize Day. I'm sorry. No, that's it.
I don't know if you
Thanks.
have a public comment. Seems to see them.
I was asked, how about this? Okay, can you come talk to me afterwards and I'll change? Yes. My phone will touch my phone. Thanks.
So you're halfway there.
Okay, Council Member Pignon is excused tonight, and Council Deputy Mayor Hawks is excused. So we will not have a report from them. And the next thing, there's one thing I want to do as a future agenda item. We need a sound system. I can't hear you, you can't hear me. And there's a sound system that MSD is using, maybe something like that. We hopefully have a little bit of money and maybe we can get some help from MSD to specify this.
This is Travis, I'm not sure.
Go ahead.
Sorry, backtracking one more thing. It's been there's been nothing to report for so long. Utah or Emigration Canyon is a dark sky community. We passed that ordinance a couple of years ago. It's really made a difference, I think. Most people are very compliant with the requirements regarding exterior lighting. It means not having your Christmas tree lights up in February, things like that. There's been a push from something it's called darksky.org to get a dark sky license plate, and the funding, the $25 for each year that you pay, will go towards furthering education and work on dark skies. Several people texted me, and actually even Diana said, "Got it. We've got the license plate. I printed it out. What it's going to look like." I was a little bit sad because I thought the first mock-up was a lot nicer than what they're showing now. As it turns out, and I think darksky.org did a sort of PR push and reached out to all these different media outlets, because Fox News had a KSL, even Deseret News. They still don't have enough participants. They need a minimum of 500 people that want a dark sky license plate. They need like 1/25 of the number of people that have Utah or Cougars, license plates, but they don't have that yet. I am going to ask Jen Hawks to post on our website. There's a link now where you can actually, they've created something through Shopify where you can pledge that if they get, that you will pay for your dark sky license plate once they get to the correct number. So I would love, it's nice. Maybe they'll change the design a little bit. I don't know. I don't know why it's so small as opposed to all the big license plate numbers. It wasn't that way before. Anyway, that was all.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yes, to speak, the little things that we have at Unified, that are connected to a speaker so people can hear each other. Yeah, microphones.
Okay, we're going to go into a closed session, so thank you all. I have a motion to go
in the closed session.
and a roll call.
I'm going to be going to closed session. Which are we going to be for the team? Complex and physical and mental health of an individual, and also strategy, strategy sessions to discuss pain or reason
More citizens.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then I did that, and all of you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So just like.
So the system's a good idea. Oh, it was a person.
You are free to stay, and then maybe expect you to stay since you're fine. And all the steps offered.